You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now, TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN, streaming on the World Wide Web, and now on demand at TSPNTV.com. Hi everyone, I'm Tom Slivick and welcome to TSPN's newscast for today. Let's take a look at those stories. On Thursday, June 27th, following a full day of deliberation, an Amador County jury found Ione resident Brandon Griffin, 21, guilty of a felony count of child molestation and 2 counts related to possession of child pornography. Griffin was found not guilty of 5 other felony counts. Well, during the trial, the jury heard evidence that Griffin had entered a 12-year-old girl's bedroom and initiated sexual intercourse. The jury also heard evidence that Griffin was in possession of a cell phone containing photos of a topless young female aged 15 and some videos of the same girl engaged in a provocative sexual act. Text messages between the minor and Griffin revealed that Griffin liked the photos but wanted to see more of her genitalia. The minor responded by sending Griffin 2 close-up videos of her genitalia as requested. Following the jury's verdict, visiting Judge James D. Garbalano remanded Griffin into custody pending the return for sentencing on August 8th. Griffin faces a maximum of 8 years and 8 months in state prison and a lifetime registration as a sex offender. District Attorney Todd Reby said he was pleased with the jury's verdict. This was a tough case on its facts, and the jury was very deliberate and thoughtful in rendering a fair and appropriate verdict of guilt. Reby praised the efforts of Robert Trudgeon, who prosecuted the case, and the Jackson Police Department, who conducted the investigation. The Amador County Sheriff's Office received a report of a possible residential burglary on June 24, 2013 at approximately 7:28 p.m. The caller reported the event had just occurred at a residence on Vibra Ranch Road in Drytown. The caller reported seeing 2 suspects carrying property, including a possible firearms, away from a residence towards another property. Amador County Sheriff's deputies responded and contacted the possible victim. As the victim was being interviewed, the suspects were observed attempting to leave an adjacent property. The subjects were detained by sheriff's deputies and identified as Jocelyn Corrine Wells, 34, and Stephen Michael Wells, 42, both of Pioneer. A search of the Wells vehicle, and they were operating, and the area where the vehicle had been parked was conducted. The search resulted in the recovery of firearms, ammunition, jewelry, a coin collection, camera, tools, prescription medications, and indicia in the victim's name. Additionally, suspected methamphetamine was located where Jocelyn had been seated. Upon conducting the victim of the residential burglary, he positively identified the recovered property as being stolen from his residence. Jocelyn and Stephen were arrested and charged with first-degree burglary, conspiracy, and carrying a loaded firearm. Jocelyn was additionally charged with possession and transportation of a controlled substance. A further search of the victim's property revealed additional tools, ammunition, and a coin collection which had been removed from the victim's residence and hidden in the woods. Amador County Sheriff's detectives are conducting additional investigation into these subjects in an effort to determine if they are associated with any other burglaries, possession, and transportation of a controlled substance. We'll just go on here. It seems I have a little bit too much in my script. Well, a little later, we'll be going to be talking with John Plass, so stick around. That's my interview after this newscast. And on June 27, 2013, the Board of Prison Terms denied parole of Plymouth resident Jack Sackrider for the murder of Tina Ray Falango. This was Sackrider's first eligible parole date. On July 28, 1999, Tina Ray Forglano was told a friend that she was going to Jack's house. Jack Liner and Forglano had been involved in a relationship and she was going to end it. Mrs. Falango told the witness that if she did not report to work the next day, come back and look for her. On July 29, 1999, when Falango failed to report for work, she was reported missing. The Amador County Sheriff's Office conducted an investigation that eventually led to Sackrider admitting that he had accidentally killed Falango. However, the evidence showed that Falango had been beaten to death with a piece of wood, causing massive blood loss, a punctured lung, bruising to the head, and a ruptured liver. Sackrider placed Falango's body in the trunk of his vehicle and dumped her body down a mine shaft. He pled guilty to second-degree murder and is serving a sentence of 15 years to life in state prison. Today, Sackrider continues to maintain that he acted in self-defense and that Falango died as a result of hitting her head on the corner of a bed after he pushed her. The parole board determined that Sackrider was not credible, lacks insight into the life crime, and displays superficial and self-centered remorse. In commenting on Sackrider, the board stated, "You've got violent man who inflicts pain on women and is not suitable for parole. Sackrider will not be eligible for parole consideration again for 5 years." The Amador County District Attorney's Office personally appeared at Sackrider's parole hearing in Ione State Prison and opposed his release. The Amador County Sheriff's Office also opposed his release. Last November, California voters passed Proposition 36, which amended California three strikes law by providing that all inmates serving life sentences for convictions of non-serious or non-violent felonies shall be resentenced unless a judge determines that doing so poses an unreasonable risk of danger to public safety. Recently, Amador County Superior Court was the scene of one of the first contested resentencing hearings in California. Former El Dorado County resident Clifford Cheney, 67, took advantage of the new law and petitioned the Superior Court for resentencing. The Amador County District Attorney's Office opposed the resentencing on the ground that it would pose an irresponsible risk of danger to public safety. In support of their opposition, prosecutors stated that Cheney's criminal history comprised of 5 robbery convictions, a felony DUI with injury to 3 victims, a misdemeanor DUI causing injury to 1 victim, and 2 felony DUIs made him a high risk to reoffend if released. Cheney's 5 robbery convictions stem from 2 large-scale armed incidents occurring in 1983 at Technicolor Labs in Sacramento. The robbers were looking for a chemical used in photo processing that could be turned and sold to the Hells Angels to manufacture methamphetamine. Ironically, the chemicals actually were not precursors towards making methamphetamine and had little or no street value. Well, during the first of these robberies, Cheney and 2 accomplices restrained 4 employees with rope and tape, and during the second incident, Cheney assisted in taking 18 employees hostage. One of the co-conspirators shot at close range with a sawed-off shotgun a responding Sacramento County deputy sheriff, severely wounding him before other officers returned fire and killed the robber. In 1995, less than 4 months after being released from state prison for robbery convictions, Cheney also caused a head-on collision while intoxicated, resulting in injuries to the driver and her 2 passengers. In 2002, Cheney rammed his truck while intoxicated into an El Dorado restaurant, injuring a cook and severing a propane line, causing evacuation of the business. In 2004, Cheney committed another felony DUI in El Dorado County. In 2005, less than 3 months after his release from custody, Cheney was arrested in Ione for another felony DUI. He was convicted following a jury trial and sentenced to 25 years to life in state prison. At the hearing, prosecutors called a witness, retired Sacramento County Sheriff's Deputy Jarrett Beck. Deputy Beck testified as to the nature of the robberies, the injuries he received, and how his badge had probably saved his life by partially deflecting the shotgun blasts. Dana Wall, the driver of the vehicle Cheney hit head-on, testified that her injuries of those and of her passengers, and she also said that Cheney refused to render any assistance after the incident to the victims trapped in their own rolled-over vehicle, instead blaming the victims for causing the accident and trying to flee the scene. Vincent Woolley, who owned the restaurant that Cheney rammed into while intoxicated, injured his cook, testified that he pulled Cheney from his vehicle and after the accident and saw a partially consumed bottle of alcohol in the front seat. Cheney never paid Mr. Woolley for the damage causes, and all witnesses testified, and the prosecution agreed that Cheney's greatest risk to the public safety was that, if released, he would get behind the wheel of a vehicle again and injure himself and others. Because Cheney would be released to El Dorado County if resentenced, he would be proven an unacceptable risk to the citizens of their county and contiguous counties such as Amador. Upon hearing all the evidence, Judge Steve Hermanson determined that Cheney posed an unreasonable risk of danger to public safety if released and reaffirmed his prior 25 years to life sentence. District Attorney Todd Reeby said that Judge Hermanson made the right decision for the public safety and the citizens of Amador County. Mr. Cheney's entire adult life is pocked with substance abuse, particularly alcohol. If released, our greatest fear, given his record, was that he would become involved in yet another DUI and possibly kill or injure another. Cheney has appealed Judge Hermanson's decision. And on a good note, all are welcome to attend the Foothill Conservancy's annual fundraising dinner, which will be held at the Italian Picnic Grounds in Sutter Creek on Sunday, July 24th. Festivities begin at 4 p.m. and include wonderful food, wine, local wines, and California brewed beers. Come meet and chat with Cecilia Smith, our new executive director, says the Foothill Conservancy. Play bocce ball in between, bidding on some amazing auction items. Enjoy music by Herb Boxhorn with Claudia Promisi and the ensemble. Tickets are $35 for adults, $10 for children under 12, and they're available by contacting Susan Bragstad at 209-267-5506. Let's take a quick look at our weather. Well, we all know it's going to be hot, and hotter. And then it might cool off. Today, 102, low 74, winds out of the west 7 miles an hour. And on Thursday, 104, low of 72. And on Friday, hot again, but it's starting to cool off with a 96, low of 63. And I believe over the weekend it should be coming down as well. Ozone levels, of course, are unhealthy with all this heat at 114, and Thursday, 119. Stay with us. When I return, I'm going to be with Supervisor John Plaza. We're going to be talking about the Amador Community College. And stay with us right here on TSPN. You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.